Welcome back to the Response Drivers Podcast, where we feature top marketing minds and dig into their inspiring stories. Learn how these leaders think and find big ideas to push your results and sales to the next level. Now, let's get started.
Hey, I'm Rick Rappe, host of the Response Drivers Podcast. Here I dive deep with marketing experts and innovators to learn how they approach targeted marketing and use data-driven strategies to acquire and retain customers. We'll talk about what's working, what's changing, and how we can stay ahead in an evolving marketing landscape. Response Drivers is brought to you by RPM Direct Marketing. RPM helps companies develop hard-hitting direct mail creative and utilize advanced testing and targeting methodologies to reach customers and prospects. Our goal is to fully optimize your direct mail marketing performance and drive more sales and exceed growth expectations. Check out rpmdm.com to learn more. Today's guest is someone I'm really excited to bring on. Melissa Martin is a revenue growth strategist, speaker, and founder of Blackwood Impact Group, a fractional chief revenue officer consultancy that helps service-based small businesses and nonprofits scale without the chaos. With a background in sales, marketing, and revenue operations, Melissa is known for transforming scattered marketing efforts into streamlined systems that generate predictable revenue. She combines StoryBrand messaging with her proprietary predictable revenue engine framework to unlock client growth. Melissa has been a featured speaker at events like Mom 2.0 Summit and has been published in outlets such as LA Weekly and Men's Journal. Thanks for joining me today, Melissa.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me, Rick.
Can you share a little bit more about your journey into the world of marketing and revenue growth?
Yes, it has always been, I've always been doing marketing. Quick backstory, I started out in sports marketing and promotions, and I quickly realized the way that I wanted to live my life, that was not going to be conducive to uh the term when we try to get work-life balance. So anytime you work in, I worked in baseball, hockey, and any sport you're in, you got to think you're going to be working some type of major holiday. You work days like a 9 to 5, and then you're there at the game all night. So it was just a lot. But I didn't lose the passion for marketing. I just did an early pivot in my career, and I found digital marketing. And so once I pivoted from sports to digital, it just all made sense. I did that in the era when SEO, search engine optimization, was a new thing. And so once I started doing that, I was in sales inside of digital marketing agencies.
Mm,
So having the marketing background and the marketing degree, my undergrad was in business administration with concentration in marketing.
mhm.
And I was the marketing major who said, I'll never go into sales. But there I was here, and it clicked. I loved it. I got the
Yeah.
best of both worlds. So I was doing consultative sales within digital marketing agencies, and I just saw firsthand having to talk to the prospect about what's going on in their business,
Mm,
the ins, the outs, the personal pains, the business pains, and then match that to the solution to solve
mhm.
that was the best thing that could have ever happened in my career, and really, led me to where I am today. So to bridge that gap from when I first started being in sales within digital marketing agencies to founding Blackwood Impact Group, um, I was noticing a common denominator,
Mm,
Rick, which was a lot of people wanted the marketing creativity and the sexiness of it. I need social media, I need to do this, I need to do that,
mm,
but their business wasn't positioned properly. The brand message was a little bit off, and they didn't have the right strategy. Now, 22-year-old Melissa, 23, 24, 25. I didn't know that what it was essentially.
mhm,
But
mhm.
as I grew in the career, developed and was curious to learn more, like, why is there what is this disconnect? it led me to realizing those things and offering better solutions and services to those clients.
That makes great sense. Were there any pivotal moments in your early career that really shaped your approach?
Yes, there were two. Um, I stumbled upon I'm an avid reader, and I don't read a lot of nonfiction. Don't stone me. I don't read a lot of oh, I should say I don't read a lot of fiction, excuse me. I don't read a lot of
Yeah.
fiction. I love to read business books. So
Okay.
I have a few, behind me, and things changed when I read Donald Miller's book Building a Story Brand.
Mm.
And it helped answer the questions that were in the back of my head, or the thoughts that I was having again, like, why is there this disconnect? What is really what doesn't make campaigns as successful as they could be? And a lot of it was going back to the messaging and the
Mhm.
positioning and how you are really relating to relating and talking to your audience and your customer.
Mm.
And it was like I read it and I was just every page like, yes, oh my gosh, I think the same thing. I feel the same way. And oh, that's interesting. Let me learn more. And it just put me down a rabbit hole into not just marketing and sales, but really getting heavier into the brand messaging and storytelling. So that was pivotal. It just helped connect the dots. It's like a lot of times I feel like we know certain things, or we get certain hunches, our intuition's telling us things, that gut feeling of this is what we should be doing or something is wrong. And then
Mhm.
you hear something, you have a conversation, you read something, and it just helps everything click. And then I was like off to the races for just building off of that methodology and the frameworks and the principle. And yeah, that was a key moment. And then also a second moment that really changed my mindset to after getting into being sales of digital marketing agency, uh,
Mhm.
a partner and my a partner and I co-founded another digital marketing agency. And so I was head of sales within that, bootstrapped it. No, we didn't have any funding, any grants, anything of that nature, just straight up networking, cold calling, boots
Mm.
on the ground, all that.
Mm.
Um, and we built that up and we sold it in 2017. And
Mm.
after that, he and I both started consulting, just doing projects within other advertising agencies. And
Okay.
so as I was going through and helping them set up their sales infrastructure to better sell the digital marketing services, putting all that together for them, I was also selling for them as well at the same time. So it was like
Mm.
kind of like being a fractional, sales officer and all that. And
Mhm.
I remember going on a lot of calls and hearing these small business owners, they're so good at what they do, but they're stuck and they don't, again, the adult saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
Being across from them and hearing them talk about their struggles, what they need to do, they're spending a lot of money on marketing and it's not sticking, and
Mm.
knowing that they're getting ready to either pay for a lot of things that they don't necessarily need, or they've paid for things that they didn't need, or going in the wrong order of doing things. And I
Mhm.
was just like, I can help you. Like I can help you with that before even spending a ton of money on ads, before spending a ton of money on a new website. There's something missing. And I saw that also in the marketplace.
Mm.
That wasn't really readily available for smaller businesses.
Yeah.
And it just clicked. Like I thought that I always knew that I wanted to consult. I knew that I wanted to coach and do the things that I'm doing now. But Rick,
Mhm.
I thought that I had to have, you know, pepper gray hair. I thought I had to be at IBM for 20 years. I
Mhm.
thought I had to do all the things that made you a quote unquote consultant.
Mm.
Um, but in that meeting, I'll never forget the gentleman. I knew that there's some things that you're missing. There's a gap between where you are and you really going to market and doing all the nice and shiny things that
Mm.
I would love to help you with, and in return save you a lot of money, headache, and heartache in the meantime. So,
And that's what led you to found the Blackwood Impact Group?
yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Wow. As a small business owner, that resonates with me a lot. I know we're good at marketing for our clients and at doing our direct mail. We're very focused on direct mail
Mhm.
marketing, but I think we need help with our own marketing more often than not. It's an interesting thing.
It is. We could talk
Yeah.
about I have a laundry list of content I wanna create and things I wanna do, but I'm like, I have to do it for my clients first.
Yeah, exactly. We always prioritize our clients'
I
project work,
know.
and then we're the last people in line for
I
our our
know.
own
I
our
keep
own effort.
saying I keep saying I have this joke like, I'm gonna be my own best case study, like, one of these days. Like, hopefully, if not this year, next year. I'm
Yeah,
saying I'm putting it out there from my mouth to your ears that I really would love to be my own best case study. So,
yeah. What's your predictable revenue engine framework, and how does that help businesses scale without the chaos?
I came to developing this over the years of, again, just simply listening to the gaps that these founders, business owners, and nonprofits were going through. And so the full predictable revenue engine, to be honest, it takes time. Like, it's a process that we work through that
Mhm,
is not a overnight, that's not a overnight type of process. It's a
mhm,
12-month program that me and my clients go through, and it's divided up into three parts. So the first, we call it setting the strategy. The second is building the system, and third is when you can actually scale for success. So, in the first 3 months of us working together, we start with the foundation. So, this is a little bit of a different take on your mission, vision, values. But essentially, what we're doing is we start with getting clear on your revenue goals. So, regardless of what you think you want, what you say, oh, I want to, you might want to double your revenue, or you want to hit seven figures.
mhm,
Okay, cool, great, love that. What is it going to take to get there? What do you need to sell? What products do need to be in place? What is that buyer's journey? So we're really being strategic behind. You say you want this. You say you want X, Y, and Z. Well, what we take that goal and then we work backwards. So after
mhm,
we have the goals set in place, then we create the messaging for you to actually go after that goal
mhm,
in the
mhm,
marketplace
mhm,
and the positioning. So again, a lot of strategy work. And then once we have that in place, now we can actually start to what I call build the system. So that's your lead generation, your website, your sales process, and funnels. So now we go from just the verbal guidelines and the strategy on to now we can start to make it sexy now. Like, you can start to see, okay, now that I've mastered answering the question, what do I do more powerfully?
yeah,
Now that I have my pitch together, now
mhm,
let's turn that into, now we get into more the creative and the visual aspect,
mhm,
going to market, right?
mhm, mhm.
And
Okay.
then at the end, so once now we're up and live and running, okay,
Mhm,
we have to, we've built the system. Now we have to invite people in. So that's where we start to run campaigns. That's when we start to really ramp up your content marketing, how you're showing up in the marketplace, and then building the systems and procedures so you can either, now you're getting to the point where it's up and running. You can either start to consider hiring internally or outsourcing, building your team, building the scope out, which I help manage that until you can either replace me or just have it running on its own. So at this whole process, I'm acting as your fractional chief revenue officer to align the brand, the sales, and the marketing so
Mhm.
that you are at the end of the 12 months, you're in a position to generate that predictable, consistent revenue month in and month out because your leads are coming in, your messaging is Trump tight. Um, and now you're, just as it says, you are generating predictable revenue and you can grow and scale.
Yeah. Sounds like a great process.
It's fun. You have to be in it. You have to be realistic on how long these things really take to do and work through
Mhm.
and to do it right. Of course, I have different offers that you can do things very quickly in a matter of weeks and what have you, but to really do the full process of building a proper foundation within your business, within your organization, you
Mhm.
have to take the time to do things right, to build it out, build the
Yeah.
systems so that they run smoothly well into
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. And it's particularly difficult for small businesses to do, right? Because they're not able to dedicate 100% of their time to marketing. So this
Exactly.
is something that it takes time, and
Mhm.
you have to do it around other things. Um,
Yeah.
You've touched on this already, but I'll ask the question and see if there's anything else you would want to mention. What are common mistakes that businesses make in their marketing efforts, and how can they avoid them? I mean, you touched on already the fact that a lot of people jump into marketing execution without having the right foundation. Is there anything else that comes to mind when you think of like common mistakes that people make?
Yes. A lot of it I think is I feel like we live in a time, and we've been living in the time where it's it's glorified to take action and to have a lot of what is it they call, I think, like acting fast, making decisions quick, a bias towards action, which I do believe in. But you have to find the sweet spot between strategy, making sure what you're doing is the right move, and then making that move. I think
Sure.
a lot of times I'm seeing my prospects, clients, they move too quickly without doing things in the proper order. And again, you don't know what you don't know, but just a
Mhm.
simple example is you going to create a website or spend thousands of dollars on ads,
Mhm.
but you're not, when the people click on the on the ad, they go to a jacked up sales page, or
Mhm.
you're not really telling them the proper next steps. There's just missing pieces in the marketing puzzle. They might have all the pieces, but it's not making a cohesive picture.
Yeah.
So that's confusing marketing activity.
Mhm.
Basically, you're confusing marketing activity with actual strategy.
Mhm.
Another thing I would say, operating again without the clear messaging or a working sales funnel. So you don't have the message to get people's attention, to answer all the questions in their mind of who you are. Is this for me? Is this going to solve my problem? Is this
Mhm.
too hard for me? Like,
Yeah.
uh, addressing the objections that they have in their mind.
Mhm.
And a part of the next step of that would be you don't have a clear process to move people from they don't know you to they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
And I would say the third common mistake would be or hiring too soon internally, or outsourcing without a system in place. So a lot of
Mhm.
times, and I've seen this with, unfortunately, a lot of marketing agencies, I feel, get a bad rep sometimes, or even freelancers, like, I hired them and they didn't do anything for me, or XYZ. And it's a
Mhm.
lot of times you're hiring a designer or a marketer that's just what they do. They might not have the aptitude for business operations, positioning, so on and so forth. So you're coming to them saying, "Hey, can you make this mud pie taste like a a wedding cake?" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know if that was the best thing, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I
about
get
the
it. Yeah.
term "help me help you." So even
Yeah.
before, I just recently hired not hi- got an intern, and
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure everything was set up in place for me, excuse me, me to be able to, you know, nurture, guide, give them what they needed so that they can in return help me. I think that's something that's missing. We kind of from a small business perspective, again, you're go, 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 do,
Yeah.
and you haven't set up the things internally
Mhm.
to equip the new hire or the freelancer or outsourced
Yeah.
agency.
Well, a lot of times small business owners and leaders, small business leaders they wear so many different hats. They think, well, I'll just put on the marketing hat. And it's like, yeah, it's a little more complicated than just pretending like you know what to do in terms of marketing and starting to hire people. It sounds like your sales background also really helps you to kind of bridge the gap between marketing and sales. I think
Mhm.
that ability to think and understand a lead comes in and then what? What happens? How are we going to convert that lead? How does it go through the pipeline? And what are the points that we need to get people to go to? Um, so many people try to like close the sale immediately and don't really step
Yeah.
people through a good process. So that makes a lot of sense. How do you use data to inform marketing strategies and produce better outcomes?
Well, it depends on what type of platform we're using. So, of course, when we're looking at ads, running digital ads, for example, on Facebook and across social media or pay per click, something that I like to pay attention and my team like to pay attention to the most is what is the click through rate, and of course, what the client, how many, not just impressions, but how many people once they see the ad are clicking onto the page, and then once they're on the page, how many have opted in to either learn more, book the call, schedule the consultation, download the form,
Mm,
so on and so forth. And
mhm,
then that's kind of in my marketing hat. That's really that's our job. but but I know that clients, they want to look at the actual close rate. So,
mhm,
but again, that kind of falls on them. So I try, again, from what I do, I try to help equip my clients with the tools that they need to actually close. Um, but those are the metrics that we're looking at: click-through rates. We're also looking at how many how many people are opening your emails.
mm,
What's the
mhm,
rate that they are opting out? You have to be aware of those things. And I kind of want to touch on the whole people, disengaging with you on email and things like that, or opting out of your ecosystem. It's not
mm,
always a bad thing. You're not for everyone. I think that's something that I want more businesses to be okay with.
mhm,
You're not for everyone, and maybe that just means you are speaking to the right people. Like, the right people are going to stay. They're going to want what you have. You can't always speak to everyone, and everyone isn't going to,
right.
want your thing. But
Mhm,
as long as you're being specific and you're planting your flag and where you stand, what you do, how you help, what the
mhm,
outcome is, you're going
mhm.
to attract your right people.
Yeah, as long as you have a really clear understanding of who your ideal customer is and
Mhm.
what their needs are, and you're speaking to those needs and making sure that your messaging is resonating with those people, then, you do have to cast a broader net,
Mhm.
a wider net, and, talk to more people to find the ones that are in your ideal customer profile and have the problem. What resources or practices do you rely on to stay updated and continuously improve your strategies?
Great question. Love this. So, as I mentioned earlier, I believe avid reader.
Mm,
I have my key people that I in the industry that I tune into, that I learn from, that give me aha moments. Again, Donald Miller, a huge one. Obviously, I'm a StoryBrand certified guide, so I drank the Kool Aid. I drank the Kool Aid before I even knew I could become a guide.
mm,
So he's up there. Um, that I learn from. I learn a
mhm,
lot from also people's stories and what they've gone through and what they share.
mm,
Jenna Kutcher is good at that. Amy Porterfield. These are what we are now calling, your business and marketing influencers.
mm,
Um, just learning their story, hearing about their stories, learning from what they've tried and what's gone wrong. I'm a firm believer in I want to be wise in business. I want to be wise in life. I want to be wise in business.
Mm.
And if someone else has made the mistake, I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen. Um, but but to get back to your question, podcasts, I learn a lot from podcasts. I learn a lot from conferences and summits. Another a great conference and that I attended and want to frequent is, I believe it's Joe Pulizzi. Joe Pulizzi, he has, I think it's like Content Inc. is a book
Mm.
that he has, and he puts on a wonderful conference and summit in Cleveland.
Mm.
And I think yeah, it's content marks up, just Joe Pulizzi.
Okay.
But he's awesome. I think a true like old school pioneer in the content marketing game. Who else? Uh, Chris Doe in terms of branding and creative and design. So even though I preach a lot about messaging and getting your words right, I do respect deeply the design and creative aspect in that regard. So I try
Mm.
to make sure I tune into the leaders and the teachings of that as well so that I can make sure I'm blending, making sure messaging and design still are cohesive
Mm.
and I would probably say lastly, Kelly Roach. Kelly Roach is an awesome teacher, content creator. Has a lot of great things to share. But that, going sometimes I go back through my old MBA books. I spent so much money on the degree, I might as well make sure I remember what I did.
Who wrote the books and who they mentioned? Yeah.
Right. And just going back to that. But that's really, and the best lessons are just through doing. I trial and error in my own business.
Yeah.
I
Right.
before I recommend any vendors or freelancers, designers, web developers, I test
Mhm.
to my clients. I use them myself.
Mm.
So it's just keeping up with the industry news, podcasts, books, conferences, and just continuing to test on my own, test on Blackwood.
How do you see the marketing landscape evolving in the next few years? What do you think businesses need to do to stay ahead of the evolving landscape?
Become friends with AI.
Yeah.
I think
We
we've
we have to
been
touch on AI, of course, because
we
it's
have
gonna have such a big impact on our world, right?
oh my god, especially from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective, creation, distribution. Um, you know, I laugh sometimes. I think literally yesterday, I was like, "Thank God for Chat GPT." Like, I'm sitting here talking to it. I turned it into my business advisor, my therapist. Like, you- I'm not even joking. But I would just say become friends with AI if you haven't already. There's tons of free courses from wonderful institutions that you can take to
Mm.
learn about it. See how and first, if you're leery about it, I would just say learn how to use it to offload some tasks. So before I hired a virtual assistant, I
Mhm.
I said, let me see what can I automate? What can I use AI for?
Right.
Um, because that's gonna save you time and money in your
Yeah.
business. So I think in terms of the industry, we're going to see things going to market quicker
Mhm.
because of the use of these types of tools. So
Mhm.
again, you still want to have the strategy, you need to know the prompts and whatnot. But
Yeah.
if you're when you're an expert at something, and which we all are in our own right and in some way, shape, or form, figure out how to use AI to just accelerate and put those certain things on autopilot so
Mm.
that you can grow your business more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah.
I also think that some changes are going to be diving deeper into the personal brand,
Mm.
tapping into that to create communities that are back in person. So I think more live events,
Mm.
blending your, if you're a coach or consultant, blending your offers with more in person. Because again, you got to offset if things are going like super AI and we don't know what's real and what's fake. And, people might think you're creating content. They might think you're an AI generated talking head. Like, no, I'm
Mhm.
real. Let's get together. Let's still have community. Let's still have this sense of like realness and authenticity.
Mhm.
I think that's gonna help you stand apart. And I also with what you do with the direct mail, we're gonna have to go back, so to speak, to the more traditional pieces to stand out. Because if not even if online is saturated like crazy. Like I don't I
Right.
wish I knew the stats on how many posts are done on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all that. And it's like
Yeah.
for you to hold something tangible, feel it in your hands, a marketing material that is going to leave a longer lasting impression than something you're seeing on your screen. So, we
Wow.
gotta, do some things, you know,
You can
different.
sell you can sell for us anytime. That's exactly a part of our sales pitch, of course, because we talk about the fragmentation of the digital audience and how fragmented it is.
Mm,
So it's harder to reach your whole target market sometimes with digital marketing as opposed to
mhm.
direct mail. Everybody's got a mailbox, so we can
Yep.
hit the world in a and with a lot of data and a lot of precision in our targeting. Um, but yeah, we also talk about there's a crisis of trust happening with a lot of parts of digital marketing, right? So
Mhm.
that's another issue that direct mail can help overcome because it's actually more trusted and yeah, when people touch a physical direct mail piece, they found that it actually lights up a whole different area of your brain
Oh,
as
really?
compared to seeing something on screen. It's a completely different thing that happens in our heads, which I think is really interesting. So
That's so cool.
yeah,
I love psychology. If I could have
yeah,
minored, it would have been in psychology.
yeah, yeah. We all have to study a lot of psychology and marketing and
Yeah.
understand what's happening in people's minds as
Mhm.
with our messages and with our content and all these things.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Thank you so much. This has been really helpful. I'll ask you one more question before we wrap up.
Mhm.
Is there a widely accepted marketing practice that you believe is overrated or due for a rethink?
I think I just go back to it might not be one specific thing.
Mm,
Um, my soapbox is get your foundation right.
yeah.
And Melissa, what is your foundation? It's the things that we've been talking about. Your
Mhm,
messaging, your how you simply answer the question, what do you do? That is so powerful. If you
mhm,
answer that question wrong, you are leaving so much money on the table if it's not effective. So if you don't have a good grasp on what you do, the problem that you solve, and the solution and transformation that means for your ideal customer, that
mhm.
is so underrated.
Right.
Um, and then really what you're offering, your product or your service,
Mhm,
getting that right. So when I say foundational pieces, knowing where you're going. You say you want to be a seven, eight figure, all these things, but why and how? What is it going to take to get there? So getting very clear on the foundations of your business
mhm,
and before, yes, before before you're hopping on every trend, don't get me wrong. If you want to dance on TikTok, that's fine. There's some really good dancers out there. If you want to, if you
mm,
want to do all those things, that's awesome. Just make sure before you hop on the next shiny new thing, you have your message right, you have a solid marketing strategy in place, and
mhm,
you know exactly how you're going to move your ideal customer or client
mhm.
from them not knowing who you are to them saying yes.
Right.
Um, that get your foundation right in your business. And then trust me, when you have the time and the budget, it will be so much easier for you to see results doing all the nice and shiny things and being on multiple platforms,
Yeah.
doing all the different types of tactics.
Yeah. Well, we totally see this in our business all the time because we're producing and creating direct mail, but our clients that have a really strong, solid brand foundation, we leverage that and use that in our direct mail. And
Mhm.
it makes our job so much easier to have that solid foundation to base things on. When they've done the research on what does the market need and
Mhm.
how do we speak to those needs, it makes executing really great direct mail much, much easier. Of course, we do a lot of testing
Yeah.
and optimization and things like that that it takes to make direct mail really work well.
Yeah.
But that foundation is critical. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for covering all this with us today. For listeners that are interested in learning more about your work or the predictable revenue engine, where can they find more information?
Yes. So thank you for asking. You can find us at our website, blackwoodimpactgroup.com, very active on Instagram and LinkedIn. And we also, through all the different platforms, whether it be a link in bio, probably one of my most recent posts, I have a call to action to take our customer catch quiz. And so if anything has resonated with you throughout this conversation in terms of I'm wondering why I'm not seeing a return on my marketing. I wonder where I'm falling short. Am I not attracting the people? Are they not converting? Where am I losing them in the process? The
Mm,
customer catch quiz helps you define that, and
mm,
it's a custom output to everyone who uses it. And then at the end of it, I offer a free consultation to have a 30-minute conversation with me about the results from your quiz and help you guide your next best steps for closing the gaps in your sales funnel.
that sounds like a really great opportunity for a lot of small businesses to get a little bit of free advice from you and learn
Yes.
more about your approach. I might
Yes.
have to get on there and do it myself, I think.
Please do. It's really cool. And it's engaging. It's a video. I sat there and did each question is a video. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
wow.
read you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's a free plug. It's called interface.io.
Oh,
And so it's a wonderful lead magnet. So if anyone's out there looking to have a different spin, more unique spin on your lead magnet and your quizzes or assessments, do a video.
mm.
Do a video quiz or assessment.
Wow, I really need to check that out for RPM
Yeah.
as well. So thank you for
Yeah.
that advice.
You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you, and I appreciate your time. And we'll talk to you again soon. Maybe we'll see you at that conference.
Yes, yes. We'll keep in touch. Thanks, Rick.
That's a wrap for this episode of Response Drivers. Thanks for tuning in. If you found today's insights valuable, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, we'd love it if you left a review. Got a question or a topic you'd like us to cover? Just drop us a message at responsdrivers@rpmdm.com. Until next time, keep driving response and making your marketing work smarter.